and he was playing all the kind of weirdy heroes, like May initially, making walls for us. We'd run into their base, do damage, but then came the end of our broship. You know, like we play with 6 guys. All of a sudden, guess who ruined it for us, Pig? I'll give you 2 guesses.
Is he from France?
Yeah, freaking Todd. Todd ruined it. Like I to this day, I have still not played with anybody that is so unaware. Like he would be like, yeah, I'm playing Kerry, and it's like, okay, what are you gonna play? And like Gung Fu's our best player, right? And it's like, I'm play Farah, and you hear me, okay? So it's like, we play, and I'm playing freaking, what was his name? Zenyatta. I also heal. Todd's flying in there, just gets like, we've got all that heal on him, right? And he's obviously very out of position, dies, and he's like, Gung Fu, DeMu, you're so freaking bad, blah, 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 blah. And this lasted for like 10 minutes straight, and like we've all never played together ever since. Like it was absolutely disgusting. Todd,
the breaker of friendships, man. Todd, there are so many stories like that. Playing games with Todd is a special experience. If you guys aren't good at handling smack talk, find a way to play team games with Todd, one of the greatest Warcraft 3 players of all time, and one of the worst teammates of all time.
dude, like I ended up right. One time he came to me, he's like, Ben, let's play PUBG together. I'm like, mate, I've not played PUBG in my life. He's like, no worries. I'll tell you what to do. It's all good. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be bad, and I already know what Todd's like, right? I've got this Overwatch experience in the back of my mind. So I play with him, and he's like, Ben, cover me, come in with me. I'm like, okay. So I run in with him. We both die, and he's like, what the hell are you doing? Oh my god. I'm like, mate, he told me to come with you. We play again, and he's like, okay, Ben, you stay behind. Like, he's running in. So he runs in, I stay behind, and I'm like trying to shoot people, right? And he dies again. It's like, Ben, what are you doing? Why did you come with me? I'm like, oh my god, Todd. Like, I'm going to start recording this shit because I can't believe what you're saying right now. This is so ridiculous. And yeah, not played with Todd ever again since. In fact, no, I played with him, but it was in Warcraft 3, and it was 1v1. And again, I was apparently the luckiest fella of all time, you know, got blocked for 6 months, and yeah, unblocked 6 months later, and Todd's just like, hey, what's up? Like, oh my goodness.
It's a badge of honor, mate. We're gonna revisit this because we've got so many more stories of this. But for now, great creeping on both sides. I'm like, oh man, I want to just tell these stories because there's so many more funny ones. I have actual recordings as well. It's amazing. Anyways, let's talk about the game at hand. We've got the brutes and the gaunts going after these goats, taking them down. A bunch of fiends being spawned there on the south. ExoStriker is the player who famously eliminated Mana, for those who don't know, in the south side. He is insanely good. Watch out for ExoStriker, a very strong player. But Elazer has been one of the highest ranked Infernal players on the ladder. So it's going to be a really interesting match to see how they go up against each other. And right now we've got a big fiend run by onto the natural. Uh-oh.
That is a big fiend run by, and I think ExoStriker as well in his qualifiers. He was one of the guys that he took out Mana, right? And Mana was one of the big names that people were like, oh my god, and he takes out a brute for his troubles here. I mean, army's fairly similar, but does feel like Elazer's getting a nice little wrap around here on the Infernal units, and my goodness.
The hogs coming in are they're gonna work for Elazer, man. The hogs at the front don't really help. I really feel like you don't really want meat farms here, right? Because look how many fiends he's getting. Oh my god. The meat farm. This is why we've seen so many proxy meat farms in the previous matches, because if your opponent gets a bit of momentum in the fight, suddenly those meat farms are just free fiend spawning structures, and we can see the ridiculous snowball that happens in the Infernal Mirror matchup. I was so excited when I saw Night Phoenix earlier because he proxied his meat farms to avoid exactly this happening, and it was like this amazingly smart decision, which I think after seeing it, I'm like, all Infernal players need to start doing this. Do not put your meat farms at your base in the mirror matchup. Hide them on the map. Use them to help with resource camps. Because otherwise, man, that infest mechanic wrecks.
I love that Elazer, you know, probably been watching the stream, watching the games, how they go, and, you know, he's like, oh, you guys are behind time? All right, let's really bring it. And that was an absolute feisty victory there. Like, just catching one of the brutes, very similar armies, but he was very decisive about just dealing damage straight away. And maybe this is just some of the stuff that these guys can really see and pick apart. It's like, oh, you've got your buildings there, those meat farms. They will come in handy if I attack you with quite a lot here at this point in the game. And we're going to see a lot of deviation, just people taking advantage of these very, very little things. And there's going to be a lot of evolution going on when it comes to what these players are doing to one another.
100%. And, it's like, obviously, there are things where you're like, will Felhogs keep spawning fiends in the future since fiends don't spawn fiends? I would imagine that's just like something that probably gets removed. But there are ways around it. And this is the great thing about RTS is there are so many different ways you can excel and adapt to problems. Like, there are so many times as an RTS player where I feel like when you're learning it, like, well, this is clearly broken. This is unfair. But then you find a way to deal with that unfairness, right? And avoid that unfair situation. And watching the way the players find creative ways to do that is always so interesting. So does ExoStriker just place the meat farms differently? Or do they simply try to be the one who takes the aggressive control themselves? We're going to find out because it's Jagged More. And map 2, we're going into it. Elazer's going to be in the top and ExoStriker in the bottom. And it's going to be interesting to see some imps already heading out onto the map. Very, very far out.
Yeah, and you do have to remember, like, the production facilities that you put out onto the map do allow you to get creeping a little bit faster. Like, do you necessarily need all your imps right there and then just doing whatever? I mean, these players so far, the answer is no, right? And yeah, the quicker you can have your production out there to get stuff going, just means faster creeping in general. And this is a massive map.
Indeed. Kind of cool to have a few Infernal matches in a row and see this matter. Of course, anyone who's hungry for more Vanguard games, don't worry, our next 2 matches will be a Vanguard versus Infernal and a Vanguard mirror matchup. And then the quarterfinals already have guaranteed 3 out of 4 matches with a Vanguard player in them. So we've actually got a really nice mix of the factions and a lot better than people I think would have guessed a week ago, which is really exciting. Because yeah, I was like, man, please don't be like 12 out of 16 players.
Oh my goodness.
What?
So
Oh
they can't see what the other one's doing here, but they
No.
both, and I mean within a second of one another, both built a shroud zone here. So what is so vital about this position? Well, you got your speed camp on the left, the vision camp on the right, and I tell you, having a tower here available will help a lot. Elazer is a little bit faster.
Important point, whoever gets the infest first, that infest takes priority. So you can't take, so your infest I don't think matters on those goats as ExoStriker because you got here a second later. Yeah, notice how only red fiends are spawning out. So in this mirror matchup, you've got to get to the creep camp first. So this is a big advantage for Elazer. Gets the extra fiend spawns, and of course those towers. The thing is, they couldn't see each other before, but once they start shooting each other, the enemy attacking you reveals it, and that allows the tower to shoot the other tower, which reveals itself, and so they are able to continue fighting.
Oh, and I mean, that brute is taken down, still a Gaunt alive, tower taken down as well. I mean, so far, this is a disaster series for ExoStriker, right? I mean, not down and out by any means, but definitely behind already.
Dude. Oh, he's going to chase down the Gaunt. Good choice by Elazer. I think it's worth it to, well, I don't know. Brute's at 150 now. It's not really worth it resource for resource, but it is like it's a dominant move, you know? Asserting dominance. Sometimes it's not about being cost efficient. It's about taking your opponent's units off the board.
I'm all about sending a message, Pig. I'm all about that kind of life. And getting the kill, removing it off the board, you never know. And look how Elazer's set up as well. So he takes out all these Gaunts, all these Brutes, all these Fiends. He's put a tower at that siege camp, and we saw this from Elazer very early in the tournament. That means he's going to make short work of that siege tower. Does ExoStriker on his side of things have the same thing going on? I'm not sure, but even if he does, I think Elazer will be able to see it with that tower, that vision range, and yeah, there's nothing going on there on the same side.
Yeah, no, this is such a good start by Elazer, and you're seeing that seconds matter in mirror matchups in RTS games. I don't know if there's ever been an RTS that isn't like this. I imagine in its final form, Stormgate will probably ease some of these edges, but when you get to the very top level, it's like, man, if they get to that creep camp, they get that item before you, they buy the thing from the Goblin Merchant first, they come in there and, and they have 2 Reapers and you have 1, and they kill your first Reaper. Like, there's so many examples across so many games where I'm like, you gotta be tight down to the second in the mirror matchup, and Elazer has just been on the ball this game.
He really has, and using this Shroud Stone as well, just building up that shield that the units do benefit from when they're on Shroud here, meaning those Fiends get quite a bit of extra packing. Both players are trying to deal with this camp, but ExoStriker is going to have a bit of a rougher time, and you can tell that Elazer just faster in every department. He's going to get on top of this. Oh my goodness, he surrounded it. The big catapult splats that army down, and I think ExoStriker, GG. Yeah, indeed.
For those who don't know, Elazer is from Poland. If we go back, there was like a national hero, a bear, Wojtek, and Elazer basically just roleplayed as the bear of Poland. He just picked up ExoStriker and just mauled him, threw him across the wall. That was a brutal Infernal versus Infernal. We've seen pretty hard swings in the matchup, but that was the hardest I think we've seen someone just run away with a 2-0 in the entire tournament so far.
Clean build, clean execution. Just and I tell you what, that's such a nice way for him to fly through, because nobody knows what's going to come next or what's going to come afterwards. And sick play out of Elazer. He's dominated the qualifier yesterday, the Katowice players, even beating Probe out in the final match. That was pretty good. I went back and watched it, and here so far hasn't broke a sweat. He's absolutely going to be a menace for anybody going up against him.
Heck yeah, that was brutal, dude. I'm just like, behind schedule, anyone? Oh my, yeah. You said, Vortex wanted to hurry things up. Apparently, Elazer does as well.